He wasn't just another actor or filmmaker. He was a trailblazer, a visionary, a dude who cracked open the door for black creativity in Hollywood when nobody else was doing it like that. And yet somehow, the industry turned its back on him. Now, before we get deep into what happened, let's be clear. Robert Townsend was doing legendary work before people had the word representation on their radar. He gave us Hollywood Shuffle, a film that exposed the stereotypes black actors were forced to play just to survive, and he did it with a micro budget, credit cards, and sheer willpower. Like, who else was calling out Hollywood while still trying to get work in that same system? Like, that's bold. And then came The Five Heartbeats, which, now come on, that's a classic. He took inspiration from real R&B groups and told a story full of heart, soul, struggle, and joy and made it timeless. He did that. Him. And as a huge fan, that film means everything to me. And yet, when we talk about black Hollywood legends, his name rarely comes up. And personally, I think Robert Townsend was ahead of his time. Too honest, too creative, too independent. And Hollywood didn't know what to do with that. They were cool with letting him in the room, but not cool with letting him build his own. And that's the part that stings, because he could have had the same rise as a Spike Lee or a John Singleton, but the support wasn't there. The support just wasn't the same. Now, Hollywood Shuffle, if you've never seen it, fix that, seriously, because this movie is satire, it's truth, it's comedy, it's all rolled into one. And Townsend used his own experiences as a struggling black actor to expose the ugly side of Hollywood. And you know, the typecasting, the can you be more urban nonsense, the idea that black actors could only play thugs, slaves, sidekicks, or jokes. And he didn't just talk about it, he showed it. He funded it all himself. He maxed out credit cards, borrowed money, no studio backing, just straight up indie filmmaking. And that's the kind of passion and risk that legends are made of. And yet, even after the movie dropped and he got great reviews, Hollywood didn't roll out the red carpet for him. They clapped, they gave him a pat on the back, you know, and went right back to business as usual. And that movie wasn't just entertainment, it was a message. You know, it was Townsend telling the industry, we see you. We see what you're doing to our image, and we're not okay with it. He put himself on the line to say what needed to be said. Instead of being embraced, he got pushed to the sidelines. And, you know, decades later, black actors are still fighting for better roles, better writing, better opportunities. So what does that really say? It says that Townsend was speaking truth way before the mainstream was ready to hear it. And personally, I think that's exactly why the industry didn't know what to do with him. He wasn't trying to play the game. He was trying to change the rules. And for Hollywood, that was just too real. And The Five Heartbeats, if you know, you know. And if you don't, let me put you on game real quick. This movie is everything, right? Heart, struggle, brotherhood, betrayal, redemption. And at the center of it all, Robert Townsend, once again, proving he wasn't just a filmmaker. He was a storyteller with soul. And that, now, I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of great movies. My personal favorite is The Temptations. That's neither here nor there. But people like to, you know what I'm saying, talk about The Temptations, Dreamgirls, what's love got to do with it? Give me another one. I can't think of one. But you get my point. People like to talk about all these biopics and stuff, but The Five Heartbeats walked so a lot of these movies could run. Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayans co-wrote it, but this wasn't just a script. It was Townsend's heart on film, Townsend's heart on wax. You could feel the influences from the Dells, the Temptations, and every R&B group that had clawed their way through the crooked industry just to be heard. You could feel all these influences throughout the movie. And that's what really made the film so real. It wasn't glitz and glamour, it was grit and grind and sacrifice. You saw what fame did to black artists. The manipulation, the addiction, the loneliness, it hit different. It hit different. Townsend wasn't just trying to make a hit movie. He was trying to tell the truth through music and through a story. But guess what? The critics didn't show up. The awards didn't show up. Hollywood didn't show up. The same industry that eats up every struggling artist's story completely ignored this one. Why? Because it was too raw. It was too honest. That's how it felt. And as a fan, watching this movie is like, why isn't this getting the respect it deserved? The acting, solid. The music, fire. The message, timeless. But Hollywood didn't want to highlight this version of black life. They wanted safe. They wanted sanitized. Townsend gave them truth, and they looked the other way. And that's the pattern with Robert Townsend, right? Like, he gives the world gold, and the industry treats it like scrap. But fans, we knew. That's why the movie still has a cult following to this day, because it spoke to us. And that's something award shows can't touch. All right, let's talk about Robert Townsend's next move, The Parenthood. Now, this was him stepping into the mainstream, a family sitcom on a major network. And you think, okay, maybe now Hollywood would give this man his flowers. But nah, they still wasn't trying to let him win. They still wasn't trying to let him win the way he deserved. The Parenthood hit TV right in the middle of the wave of black sitcoms like Martin, Fresh Prince, Living Single. But what made Townsend's show different was the tone. He wanted to give us a show about a complete black family. 2 parents, loving household, smart kids, funny moments, but also real lessons. He was out here showing that black people could just exist. Laugh, love, discipline, success, failure, ups, downs, wins, losses, without trauma being the punchline. And here's what hits me. He created the show, started it, directed episodes. Dude was doing it all. This wasn't just a bag for him. It was a mission. It was a chance to show another side of us on screen. And yet you never hear his name in the same breath as the creators of other classic black shows. Why is that? It's almost like Hollywood didn't want to promote the fact that a black man was calling the shots and keeping it clean, conscious, and creative. Townsend gave them exactly what they claimed they wanted. Wholesome content, black excellence, no controversy, and they still lowballed them. What more does this man have to do? He did indie films, he did studio films, he did television, he crossed every lane, but the recognition is minimal. The press is quiet. And that tells you everything about how this system moves sometimes. It's like if you're not feeding into a certain stereotype or giving them something to exploit, they act like you don't exist. And Townsend didn't sell out. He never sold out. And for that, they boxed him out. Let's get one thing straight. Robert Townsend didn't just create space for himself. He created a space for others. And this is the part of the story that doesn't get told enough. Behind the scenes, he was mentoring, uplifting, and putting people on, all while never getting the industry spotlight that he earned. You like the Wayans brothers? You like Eddie Murphy? I mean, even folks like Issa Rae and Donald Glover. Townsend helped shape that path. Before the industry started to pretend to care about diversity, Robert was putting black talent behind the camera, in the writer's room, and in the director's chair. And let's talk about Eddie Murphy for a second, because we all know Eddie's a legend, but early on, Townsend was right there, co-writing and helping shape his stand-up projects. They had that chemistry. They sharpened each other. Townsend was that quiet force helping others step into their greatness without needing the spotlight himself, and that's kind of rare. And the Wayans family, don't forget, Keenan Ivory Wayans co-wrote The 5 Heartbeats, and Townsend gave Keenan his first major creative collaboration before In Living Color hit. And that partnership wasn't just about laughs, it was about power, about putting authentic black voices on screen in ways that we hadn't seen before. And what trips me out is the more you dig, the more you realize Townsend's fingerprints are literally everywhere. So many actors, so many writers, so many filmmakers got their first shot or some serious game from him. Yet Hollywood treats him like a footnote or something, like he was almost great. Nah, he was always great, and he always will be great. They just don't want to give him the mic. He is great. You heard it here first, folks. And from a fan's perspective, it's kind of infuriating because you watch someone pour into a community, they fight to break open locked doors and deliver meaningful work, and they still get overlooked. And you start realizing that the system doesn't reward truth tellers. It rewards people who play the game, those who conform, those who don't make too much noise. And Townsend never did that. And for that, he paid a price in visibility, even though his impact is still undeniable. But honestly, the truth is Hollywood moves on fast. And when you don't fit their mold, they quietly push you out and push you to the side and hope that the world forgets. But that's where we come in as fans, because as the culture, you know, we as people who see through the noise and recognize that the ones who built the stage so that others could shine, because it's not too late. You know, Robert Townsend is still here. He's still creating. He's still teaching. He's still believing in the power of black storytelling. And honestly, it's time for the world to catch up. You know, platforms like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, they should be banging on his door for a retrospective, a new series, a new biopic, something. His story deserves to be told loudly and with respect. And we're living in a time where black creators are finally getting to tell more complex stories. And what bothers me is how quickly folks forget who paved the way for that, who risked everything when there was no black renaissance in Hollywood. when studios weren't trying to fund black stories unless they came with stereotypes. Townsend fought through that every single day and still made art. And as a fan, I don't want to wait for a rest in peace moment to see the media do a 10-minute tribute reel. Nah, I want living legends to be honored while they're still here to feel it. Because Robert Townsend changed the game, and that needs to be seen and said on every stage, on every platform, every classroom where film is ever studied. I want to make myself clear. Robert Townsend did not fall off. He was pushed aside. And still, he never stopped shining. So let's give the man his flowers. Let's say the names of the ones who built bridges without the applause. Let's make sure his name rings out like the legend that he truly is.